Alright, so the other day after work I stopped by this bar and I walk in and there's not a lot of people at the bar, but I walk in, I walk up to the bar. The bartender didn't recognize me or acknowledge me when I walked in. I sat down at the bar and I wait a minute or so, and the bartender, he's, I don't know, playing around with the cash register, writing something down on a piece of paper. I don't know what the heck he was doing. At any rate, finally I'm like, hey, can I get a beer? The guy's like, just a minute. I'm thinking, man, what kind of customer service is this, right? So finally the guy comes over and he gives me a beer and he says that'd be $5. And I'm thinking, oh man, $5 for beer and crappy service too. At any rate, as some of you may know, sometimes if I don't get good service, I tend to show it a little bit. At any rate, I just so happened to have a pocket full of quarters, so I reached in my pocket and I pulled out and counted out 20 quarters and I threw them on the floor. I didn't throw them on the bar, I threw them on the floor. Guy looks at me, gives me a scowl, gives me a dirty look, walks out from around the bar, walks up to me, bends down, starts picking up them quarters. I'm like, damn right. So at any rate, I finish up my beer, I head home, and all night long this guy's bugging me, man. I mean, you know, crappy attitude, crappy service. It's just getting on my nerves. So the next day I stop by the bank and I pick up me a couple roll of quarters. And so I stop by again, and same thing. I walk in, no acknowledgement. The guy doesn't look up. He's playing on his iPhone. And I walk in, I sit down at the bar. Again, doesn't come up to me or nothing. And after a minute or two, I'm like, hey, can I get a beer? And the guy's like, yeah, just a minute. Doesn't even look up. I'm thinking, you know, maybe he should have recognized my voice or something from the day before. But no. So finally, after a minute or two, he comes over, hands me my beer, he says that'd be $5. So I reach in, I pull out 20 quarters, and I throw them on the floor again. Guy walks around, gives me a dirty look, bends down, starts picking up the quarters. So I finish my beer, I go home. So day 3, I go in, I figure, well, hopefully by this time he's learned to maybe, you know, pay attention to me when I walk in, right? So I go in, same exact thing. Doesn't acknowledge me when I walk in the bar, nothing. And there's not like there's a lot of customers, and he's not busy or nothing. So at any rate, I sit down and I'm like, hey, can I get a beer? And the guy's like, just a minute. I'm thinking, man, what an idiot. So finally, again, after a minute or two, he comes over, gives me my beer, says that'd be $5. So I reach in my pocket and I grab quarters again. I count out 20 quarters, I throw them on the floor. The guy gives me a dirty look, like he ain't never seen me do this before. Gives me a dirty look, walks around, picks up 20 quarters, and goes back behind the bar. So next day, I'm like, I walk in. I didn't have any quarters left, but I walked in and same routine, same exact routine. Doesn't acknowledge me. You know, doesn't recognize my voice or doesn't care or whatever. I'm like, hey, can I get a beer? And he brings me a beer, says that'd be $5. So I reach in my pocket and I hand him a $10 bill. And so he kind of looks at me, grabs the $10 bill, goes over to the cash register, opens up the little flippy thing that holds down the dollar bills and puts the $10 bill in, closes it, and then I hear rattling in the change drawer. And I know what he's doing. I know what he's doing. He comes over and he's got 20 quarters in his hand. And he throws them on the floor. Right? And so I'm standing there, I got my beer, and I'm looking down at these 20 quarters on the floor, and I said, and I'll have another beer too.